All right, so finish saying what you were saying.
I was saying that. So we were talking about how rich people are the most rich. The highest suicide rate is among rich people, and I said that I believe that is the case just because when they have all the money in the world and they don't care about anything, they didn't have a goal before they had the money, they lose all purpose in life, and that's what makes them depressed. However, I think if you got the money, but you had a goal before the money, then you're solid because you can only solely focus on your goal, like your hobbies, anything that you're interested in. For example, me, I'm a fighter. I love fighting. I love training. I'd love to open up a gym and fucking train with all the boys, hire all the coaches that I want and just pursue my dreams. And I can do that a lot more calmly when I don't have to worry about, the electric bill, water bill, house bills, fucking anything. Like I could buy any car I want, anytime I want.
Well, you gotta think about fucking money. If you just focus on money, what do? OnlyFans. You give up your soul for the money. You do drugs. Mm-hmm. You fucking rip off your homies. You steal. You know what I mean? So when you say, that's why I was saying I understand both of you guys, because what you're saying is right. If you focus on the goal and you work hard enough towards it, you're gonna get some kind of money. You know what I mean? And if it's not the amount you need, you readjust the goal because you need more money. You know what I mean? Like if you want to open up a fucking gym, you got to work towards something. And if you aren't getting the money you want from that, make some changes, and eventually you can get there. And then and what I was saying about him, like when they were people were telling me shit too. Like if you're doing stuff, it's a lot easier to work through because work is hard, it's tiring, it's monotonous. So you gotta, if you're gonna do something, if you're just doing it for the fucking money, you becoming bitter, and that lowers your chances of success right there. And you become fucking lazy. Could you imagine like me fighting? It's very monotonous. I tell you that it is. It's very monotonous. I will say, I looked at this sports psychology study one time, right? So you know how they talk about how age, because this is I've never told anybody this, but getting to 35 and stuff, it was a fear of mine. Because you watch UFC and everything, and they're this dude's 30, he's getting old, he's 32, he's old and stuff. And I was like, fuck, man, playing into that, which was foolish because I know a lot about anatomy and physiology, but I heard it so much, I started falling into it. So when I was getting in my mid-30s, I'm like, fuck, oh no, it's all over, I can't do anything more. And then I was just watching the UFCs and something started changing where, do you remember most of the champs were older people?
Yeah.
And I was like, this is interesting. Then I was watching the older guys perform and I was like, dude, and I was like, wait a minute, these guys are performing better than the younger guys, and they've taken more damage than me, a more damaging style. They drink and I don't. Some of them have done steroids or drugs I don't, party and I don't. And I was like, man, so I started really putting a lot of time into studying stuff like sports related and sports having to do with anatomy and physiology and your overall performance. And I ended up seeing this study, this psychological study, from a sports psychologist, and it was real interesting. And he said it's not actually the age that ages people out. He said that he named main criteria that ages people out. It's your style. So if you have a damaging, get fucked up, hit a lot style, you will age out faster than if you have a defensive style.
It's like Chuck Liddell.
Yeah. And then he said it's your training routine. And this one was interesting because one part of it was the damage can come into training or it cannot as well. So that was almost the same category as your fighting style. But then he also said that, and I was like, man, it makes sense. How you strength and condition train can age you out. Because he said if you do strength and conditioning wrong, think about it. A lot of people get injured doing weights and Olympic lifts. And that can age you out faster as well. And then another thing he said was your overall injuries and surgeries, how many you've had, and your rehab counts of it. Did you rehab right or wrong? But he said that the main thing that ages people out actually is it's the mental.
Confidence.
So yeah, the whole monotony of it is not that they aren't even physically capable of performing. And he said the scariest part is that people don't realize it themselves, but they start doing less and taking shortcuts in the training, which is why the results become negative.
And
so
you start losing motivation.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's the monotony of it. You've been doing it a long time, and it's kind of like me. You guys see how I perform, and I'm not even in full shape. And when I was in Thailand, I wasn't in full shape, and it was UFC guys there, Bellator, ONE FC Glory, everything, and I was doing everybody dirty. You know what I mean? And these were guys in there like 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25 and shit. You know what I mean? And I was like, damn, all that shit is a lie. But then now, that's when I was like still 35 to the 40 age. Now I'm being 40, like the other part of it, I feel the monotony, like dieting. I just don't feel like it. You know what I mean? Like I gotta like try extra hard to diet, even harder than before, because I like food. You know, and then like jogging, I fucking hate it. But I was able to just be like, fuck, let's go. Before. Now it's like, I don't fucking want to fucking jog at all. And I'm like, dude, and it made me think of that study. I'm like, dude, it's fucking real. Like you gotta think about it. Like me, I've been doing this shit over 20 years. Why you wanna keep jogging dieting over 20 years? You know? And it's like he's saying you gotta have some kind of, well, both of you are saying you have to have something other than money. No money in the fucking world will make you do it. It's just some shit no money in the world can push you through. You know?
So what my point is, for example, like I said, a hobby that I love to do is fighting, right? So if I have the money, I know I don't have to fight, because I know that I'm not reliant on anything, right? I don't need to fucking paint, I don't need to fight, I don't need to fucking train people, I don't need to do shit. I'm set for life. But what I want to do is this. All I'm saying is if you have that goal before you get the money, and you find another way to get the money, like for example the stock market, right? You get lucky, you win the lottery, for example.
So are you saying you find something to support your love? Is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
Well, kind of like I told EJ to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I told EJ, I said, go get this, go finish that trade thing, and then you ain't got to worry about money, and you will do better at your love of fighting because you don't have the worries. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's a lot of ways to go about it, but the main thing is it can't just be about money.
No, absolutely. Yeah, and I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying that.
No, I'm not saying that you're saying that. I'm saying just for like in general, how people go about shit. Money is dude, money and social media is just fucking up everything. And they like literally like brother and fucking sister. You know what I mean? Like the social media is giving like false ideas of what is important and who is important in life. They are making people idolize people like Kim Kardashian, these stupid ass fucking rappers, or like Amber Rose, who is literally a millionaire for sucking dick, for fucking rich guys. They're making people feel like these are who you should look up and aspire to be like, and that's what social media is doing. And then the money, unfortunately, is going to those people. Like, I don't know how other people see it, but it is mind-boggling to me that you can be a whore and make more than a doctor.
Yep.
But what I see is
saving lives. And then guess what? If I told you or you to name very important doctors of the world, you either can't or you would really have to think about it. But you can go ask anybody, oh, name a couple of hoes. They will give you like 50 names.
Atlanta Roads.
They will give you like 50 names.
That makes it worse.
Same thing.
Yeah.
You know, you know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. A person will put, I got that nonprofit and stuff. Barely anybody tries to put into it, but everybody will put into an OnlyFans.
The problem is, people look for rocks nowadays. Like, rocks is equivalent to things like money, things like sex, things like hobbies, things like this and that, things like the future or the past. But rocks, I mean, they're just rocks. Like, what people need to realize, I feel like people need to realize sometimes. And I mean, everyone's a victim of it. Everyone's a victim of desiring rocks. That's a desire. Buddhists try to get rid of desire. That's the whole point of the religion. That's why they're Buddha, they follow the religion, and why they stay in religion because they get rid of this desire, and it enlightens them. That's where enlightenment comes from this this delusion that rocks will make you happy. But people think, and I'm using rocks because in today's world, people see, oh, well, I got money. That's not the same thing as rocks. No, money is the same thing as a rock because you can love money and you can love a rock, but a rock and money and your hobbies won't love you back. You have to find something.
You're saying that objects can't love you back, so you shouldn't put your love into something that can't.
No, you should let nature take control of what you do. You should let. So in the case of money, where you express the belief that money is going to supply your hobbies, first of all, I can give you thousands of cases, and if not infinite cases. There hasn't been an infinite amount of people in this world, but I can give you an unlimited amount of cases of people who did not need money to achieve their dreams, because those people, they have dreams, they have a willpower, they have a love, they have emotion about what they do, whether they're fighting, whether they're going to college, whether they're doing this or that. They find a way to do it because they don't need money. They don't need to find a rock. They need to find the present moment that they're in to actually achieve it, to actually live in the present moment. When you think about the rock, you rely on things like delusions, you rely on things like risk and whatnot. I mean, that's me kind of talking theoretically, but when you look for a rock, you're delusional. What you need to do is you live in the moment and find love in the moment you live in, and essentially things will come to you. You're gonna probably find a job. There's supporters out there. You find a job. From there, you work on. You have a will for something. You work harder. And there's plenty of success stories out there that show people, and everyone in this room wants to fight. I mean, not wants to fight, but I want to fight. You want to fight. You already fought. And one knows that fighting, anyone can do it if they have the willpower to do it. You need the willpower to do it. You don't need money. You don't need a rock. You need yourself, and you need whatever's in you, your potential. And every human being has an equal, to me, my belief, every person has an equal potential. We're all born with a mind, a body, bones. We're all born with everything. We're all born in equivalency. Some people are born with inheritance, but in reality, we're all the same. We all have the same potential. And the problem with today's society is these illusions of rocks that just cause chaos and lack of control of things. These media stars and whatnot post on Instagram rocks, diamonds. I wanted to say rocks in the sense like ice and stuff, cars, whatever it may be, to make people think that that's where the dream lies. Bitches, whores, all that. That's not where the dream lies. The dream lies within you, not what's on your phone screen. That's not your dream.
To go off of what you're saying, because your point is that dreams rely off what you believe is your dream.
Who you are.
Who you are, right? So, for example, if my lifestyle has been staying fit and being a fighter, right? What does it matter if I have all the money in the world to support that lifestyle, to improve that lifestyle?
Have you asked yourself? First of all, I mean, repeat the question.
So I'm basically saying, imagine this, right? I'm giving you a scenario. I have $20 million, right?
Why?
I'm just giving you a scenario.
Okay.
I've built a gym. I've gotten all my best, all my best fucking coaches, my best teammates, and all the people that I love into one place.
Define best coach, but define best teammates.
Like people who care about myself, like fucking Dominique. You know,
Okay.
like I can't name a single person who's invited me to their house and allowed me to stay this long and have these deep conversations with them like Dominique. He's a real person. He's a real coach. He's a real person who actually cares, right? So if I can surround myself with people like that and build a gym and an environment where we can all thrive together and not have to worry about money like that for any of us, right? And we could just hang there and just train and improve our lifestyles the way that we always have and always wanted to, just without worry.
But at the moment, what are you doing?
I'm still doing the same thing, but we do have worry.
You did one thing: identify things you have in the moment. You identified the room, but then you went on this future. You went into the future. You want to gym, you want money.
Well,
you want
no.
$20
So
million.
I'm identifying things that I have worries about. For example, my father. I'm sad to say this, but he has health issues, right? My brother's autistic. My mom, unfortunately, doesn't work, right? So
She did.
She did. However, she stopped
Took a
working
break.
because she has to work. Her work is basically taking care of my autistic brother, right?
Yeah.
So now I have to think for the future. I have to make sure that I can pay off that house that we just moved into. I can take care of my autistic brother. I can buy a new car because both our cars are damn near fucking broke, right? I need to know that I'm financially secure, and right now I don't have that knowledge. So yeah, I'm not too fucking worried about that money. However, I need, in the back of my mind, I actually need to keep in mind that eventually my dad's not going to be there, and I need it. I fucking hope to God, right? Fucking knock on wood, that he stays and fucking lives for 50 more years. I fucking hope he does. But I need to have that mentality of shit. He can go out anytime because he's already had 2 or 3 strokes in his fucking, he's over 50 years old. He's already had 2 or 3 strokes. That's like a huge fucking eye opener. Also, not to mention the fact that literally last week when he went to Texas, there was a fucking shooting there, right? And one person died. That could have been him. Thankfully, it was just the shooter. No one else fucking died. But that just opened my eyes even more. Like, if he's gone, which again, knock on wood, right? I know I fucking beat this horse dead to the ground, but still, knock on fucking wood. But if he's gone, I have to take care of my mother, my brother, my family in Israel, which I haven't seen in a minute, and I have to fucking take care of the house, take care of the cars, which one's basically broken down and the other one's hella old, and the brakes are all fucked up, so I need to fix that shit anyway. So I already have a lot of worries that I need to fucking fix, and I'm not too worried about that right now. I'm just, like I said, I'm focused on what I love doing. I fucking love fighting. I love training, so that's what I'm doing. However, I'm saying if I can get rid of all those worries right now and just focus on that, focus on what I love doing, I'd rather do that than have to fucking have those worries in the back of my mind saying, hey, if I don't succeed in this right now, I'm fucked, right? Because I don't want to rely on fighting for money. That's how you get, like Coach Don was saying, that's how it gets monotonous, right? That's how you get bored of it. That's how you get fucking, that's how you stop liking to run, right? Because you rely on that shit for money or you just do it too long, right? But I want to do it for fun because it's something I love to do, right? If I get bored of it, I can find another hobby. That's always something I can do.
Well, let me say something. I'm gonna say something being the oldest one here listening, because hopefully y'all go through some of the shit I went through, and hopefully you guys didn't or don't. I respect you being as young as you are. I say you wise, but this one I feel you got really wrong. Like, I feel this one you really wrong on, because, and I'm more on your side. I feel you really wrong on it, but it actually makes me like you more, and here's why. What you say is a utopian ideal. It is not real. It just does not work the way you're saying. But you want to know who has utopian ideals? Either people that are naive as fuck, and I've spoken to you enough. You don't know me the way he does yet. I analyze everything. You are not naive like that. So to have those kind of utopian ideals, you got to be a naive, damn near ignorant person, which you're not, or a good, hopeful person. And that's where it's coming from. And I feel that's where you fall, because the cliche ass saying, fail to plan, plan to fail? Because I hear when he's talking, you're going, that's the future though. That's the future though, like you disagree. No, that is. So in psychology, they say, there's a quote that says people should not be ruled by their memories, right? Because if you linger too much in the past, then you don't focus enough on the present. So focusing too much on the past fucks up your present, right? but you are supposed to look into the past a little bit, because if you don't learn from your mistakes. You have to look in retrospect to figure some things out so that you don't make the same mistakes in the present. If you linger in the past, though, you destroy your present. If you destroy your present, you automatically destroy your future. And if you look too far in the future, then you destroy your present, because you aren't focused in the moment. You missed opportunities, the windows and doors shut. But if you don't look in the future, you never know which path. It's like walking ahead in the snow, and that part is like you fall over the cliff, but you're going like this with your eyes closed because you're not looking in front of your feet. You're gonna fall. You have to plan ahead some, because what he's saying is a very real thing. I have sick family. I have a kid, 2, a family. I want more kids. You know what I mean? I have a mom whose health not well, an aunt whose health not well, a grandma whose health not well, another grandma who health not well, and I'm blessed enough to have a great grandmother. And I have to do things in mind where I'm like, let me take care of my family, and let me make sure I have enough so if something happens to one of them. That's very fucking hard. Like, I have people all the time being like, Dom, why do you only sleep 2 to 4 hours a day? Dom, why do you never walk around looking happy? Dom, why are you always stressed? And I'm like, I don't even fucking, like, the fact you gotta answer, fuck it, I have to answer this, cool. That just means you got shit better than me. Because if you were in my position, nobody would be asking. You would just get it automatically. But most people, you know, like how most people don't help other people? You wanna know why? It's fucking hard. Most people can't help themselves, so how you gonna help another person? Most people don't know who they are, so or can't fix their own problems. How you gonna help another person with their own problems? Why do you think most people are selfish? It is too much energy. It's time, it's energy. Those are 2 things you cannot get back, and money some of the time to help others. That's why it's easy to be selfish. And I will tell you, as a person that has literally saved people, I've helped family, I've helped friends, I've helped animals, I've helped families around the fucking world that I do not know. It is a lot of energy, time, and money. And I don't condone it. I'm not built that way, but I understand why people take the easy route and just be like, I'm being selfish fuck. And you know how hard it is with me being a father taking care of my kids? And then after that, I have to be like, okay, let me take care. I have to plan for my kids now, right? Because they have to eat and have a home now. At the same time, try to build for them to be cool in the future. At the same time I'm doing those 2 things, I have to try to plan for if I die tomorrow, you know? And at the same time, plan if something happens to my mom, my grandma, my other grandma, my great grandma. It's hard, it's fucking stressful. I am never at peace. It sounds fucking morbid, I know, but it's the truth. I am never at peace. I have to, and I never will be until I find something. I don't have to be rich. I just have to find something where I go, I can look forward, like Alon says, and I go, if this is to happen, I have the money for it. I'm cool with that. I don't need anything more than that. Or if my mom go to the hospital and the bills got to be paid, is it cool? Yeah. If I die tomorrow, my kids cool? Yeah, this and that. And then the other thing, hold on, let me finish. The other thing, how you say, like, oh, it's just you. Let me tell you one of the biggest fucking lies that's out there. And it sounds fucked up, but it's a lie. When you say like, oh, you only need yourself and everybody is equal. Everybody ain't equal. All you got to check is the economics of every country to see that. All you got to go is culture by culture, ethnicity, and take a little look at geography. Everybody is not born equal. And even on the biological level, that's not fucking true. You know what I mean? Africans have a lot of physical advantages. Black people in general, if you look at Polynesians, studies have shown that a lot of South Polynesians have a denser bone structure and stuff like that, and they have a higher muscular density. Everybody's not equal, and that's okay. You know, just like some people are born mathematical fucking geniuses, and then you got people like me, I could barely do 2 plus fucking 2. Everybody's not equal. And the sooner people accept that, I actually feel like people will get along better. Because when people are sitting there being like, everybody's equal, and then in the back of their mind, they see this person's better than them, you start getting jealous and envious and fucking resentful towards somebody being better than you. Why do you think that, like, people can be friends and then your friend gets a fucking job making hella money and all of a sudden that friendship fucks up?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because the society has told them like, this is you're equal all the time. And somebody puts in their fucking work and levels up. And then the other person, the facade's broken. And now it's like that. Look at rap. Where do the most rappers get killed at? In their own neighborhood. Mm-hmm. That's their homeboys. But it was only their homeboys when you're doing the same dumb shit as them and you are equal to them. When you decide to do better and you aren't equal to them, they hate your ass. And unfortunately, in those situations, they kill you. You can't get by just being you. It's like this rap that I like when he said, money is the root of all evil, but the money is vital. When I speak in hypothetic, I read it all in the Bible. And it's true. You know, really, in reality, think about it. Does it take money to make these lights work or anything else? No. All the same shit they power all this shit with. If you could go and make the money disappear, the people could still make this shit work. Why do you think the money's here in the first place?
Greed.
It's to make people not equal. That's what it's here for. You can get rid of all the money. You can burn all the money. And you can still make electricity, do water, everything. But there always has to be a hierarchy. You know what I mean? There always has to be somebody that can wake up to a shitty day, drive their nice car by and say, oh, at least I'm better than him to get through that day. It's designed that fucking way. And you need the money to get by. Like, what you say is true in this sense, but you have one thing wrong. It's depending what your dreams are. My dream is to own a fucking gym. I know I'm one of the best coaches out there. You know what I mean? I need a gym to hire who I want, to do what I want, to prove that. That costs money. And I'm black in America. I don't even want to get into fucking race. Ain't nobody gonna walk over like there's this fucking, and I ain't a female, like there's this girl that is in 22, just graduate from fucking college in the Bay Area, and somebody fucking just invested in her to open up a place in the middle of San Francisco, and you see all these famous rappers there, and she's going there. Let's be real, she fucked her way to that investment.
Oh yeah.
I can't do that. So I can't fuck my way to the investment, and I'm not like from a rich family, so they can't open up my gym, and I'm not white. Let's just be real here. That's what it is. It's not as easy for me to find an investor. I have to come up with the capital. You know, but your dream could just be, somebody's dream could be like something else, to like walk across America or something like that. You don't need the money. So it's variable to what your dream is. But a lot of dreams take money. And even the dream like walk across America to an extent does. You gotta eat. It just takes less money.
You give me so many prompts, but I want to start with the future, with the future. I think you misunderstood. I mean, I misspoke. It's not, when I told, what Alon did is he thought a lot about the future, but he didn't think in the present. For example, Exhibit A, his parents just called, but he didn't answer the phone. So that right there, he thinks about the future, but he could have answered the phone call to his parents. Yes and no. I mean, he didn't have to. This and that. He didn't have to do that. But the point is, Alon, a lot of people, me included, we think in the future. And the reason why I think that's bad is because really the problems don't lie in the future. They lie in the present. Family health problems, family neglect, kid neglect, whatever. I felt I was neglected as a kid, if I'm being honest, whatnot. But all those problems lie in the present. And when people put the problems in the future, that's when they neglect the present. The present's when you live. The future is going to come. You might not be alive. I might not be alive in the future, but people put their problems in the future, and I think that's the human flaw. Sometimes is when people, and that's very simple. Sometimes it's called procrastination and whatnot. But I think a lot of people will not live in the present moment. That's when I say that's the future.
I agree with you. Remember I said you're supposed to peak, but not go too far ahead either direction. Not look too far in the past or the future. But it's like this. You ever jog outside and step in shit?
Yeah.
Okay. And guess what could have prevented it if you would have looked a few steps ahead?
Yeah. Right.
You understand? So you got it. It's okay to peak.
Knowing your angle. Not even a couple steps ahead.
So
knowing your angle.
For example, like with chess, right? If you're playing in the moment, right? You lose.
You lose.
Because, for example, you got, like we were saying earlier, right? You got a grandmaster and you got a beginner. Both are playing by the same set of rules.
Yeah, the grandmaster
One
got
is
like
just looking
future
ahead.
sight.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He's got the showering gun on,
Yeah.
right? Now, if you're living only in the moment, right? I'm not saying, like, I'm living both in the moment and I'm thinking about the future.
Yeah,
I'm
but
not
that's
saying
what you have to do because you have to prepare for if something bad happens.
Exactly.
But like he's saying, you have to do that now.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? You have to do that now because I heard you mention procrastination. There are some people who I know got things that could happen, like a lawn sander, like I'm talking about, and they will sit around and do nothing, and then one day it does happen, and now they got to try to figure it out.
Right.
You know, it's a very fine line. Like I said, if you never look back, like imagine a fight I lost and I never watched it over.
Yeah.
Guess what I have to do? Guess what watching it over equates to? Looking in the past.
Right.
You know? So you it's a very fine line. Like I understand what you're saying, but it's a very fine line because you're right. A lot of people do live in the future and the past. And more people live in the past than anything than even the future. Like you ever see people get in relationships? Mm-hmm. Do you know one of the main ruiners of relationships besides a lack of communication, which is the number one?
Expectations.
So, yeah, that or the past. Expectations, that's the future thing, or past
catching up.
Where they be like, oh, well, my last boyfriend or girlfriend did this
Comparison.
and then you're like, okay, but I'm here now. Why the fuck are we talking about it?
Exactly. That's a huge
I don't like the chess analogy because the chess analogy, yes, technically you do think a few steps ahead. Technically you do look in the future. But the thing is, the reality is, and when I play, Alon plays a lot more chess than me, but he has an app he plays constantly. And the thing is, chess masters, the chess masters of the world, they don't look steps ahead. And I know this is contradicting to a lot of things, a lot of people, but the reality is for everybody who's good at something is human beings, as well as Darwin, is found in a lot of animals, a lot of existing things, organisms, a lot of things in nature rely on instinct. And in chess, grandmasters, if you've seen a grandmaster play, they don't really think ahead. Some grandmasters will have a layout of boards and they'll play multiple people. What they do is they use instinct. They know the move that's coming up. They don't think about it. They just do it. They have experience. Nobody actually. And I mean, I'm not a fighter, so I can't say what it's like. But in math and what I do in math and the things I've done, I've never looked into the future. To solve a problem, I've used instinct to solve a problem. I've used my own experience, and that's what I think life is. And this my experience might kind of equate with the past, but no, that's experience is knowledge. And if you use knowledge in the present moment, I think that's where if you live in the moment and you use your knowledge and you use your instinct to survive, and that instinct is tied in with and the human instinct, it's there. Humans have instinct as well as ants that are born in their instinct. There's different kinds of ants out there, and they have their instinct. Wasps have their instinct. Every animal out there has instincts, and human beings have instincts, and those instincts they're built to keep the human alive. And what humans should live is happiness, the ability to defend themselves, whatever it may be. But those instincts are there to keep them alive. And human beings, I mean, things like fighting, chess, all those things, they rely on instinct. And that goes back into...
sorry to cut you off, but you contradicting yourself somewhat. Because the human body is designed to give you everything you need. But where do you think the word foresight comes from? Where do you think the word insight comes from? And both of those have to do with kind of like the present moment, but ahead at the same time. Because you talk about your fear. I don't look at it that way. Look at this. I'll give you an example. So I was fighting UFC vet John Gunderson to break top 50 in the world. I talked to him about this fight. Nobody's ever done this in MMA yet. I fought that guy 11 minutes, 15 seconds. That guy hit 0 times. You want to know how that happened? I watched his tapes, right? Over and over. So I was looking, I was in the past, right? So I jumped into the past. I watched his tapes over and over. That was the first thing I do. So I did that scary area of swimming in that black water of the past. And then I remember, and you can ask my friend James Chaney in this. I stopped. I just stopped. I said, I've seen enough. And everybody was like, oh, dude, you only watch each fight, like the fights once. I said, that's it. Because then I'm going to overthink it. So I watched enough of his fights one time. And then after that, I went to the gym. And James and me trained in the present for the future. You understand? We literally took the past and we trained with James, emulating every single thing he saw that dude do in the past for what that dude can possibly do in the future based off of his habits. Because I have like a very high analytical ability. And I was like, these are the things I saw the most. Does that mean he's gonna do them in the future? No, but humans are very habitual by nature. I said, James, copy these things over and over in training. Don't ever tell me when you're gonna do them, but do them. And we did that for 2 months. And guess what? James told me after the fight, he said, dude, it was like weird. It was like a video game or something. He was like, I would like say something to you based off of what we were doing, and before I could say it, you were doing it, and before this dude was doing it, you were countering him. Watch that fight. It was like, I was so ahead of him. I was so ahead of him. I was in the fucking future, dog. I was so ahead of him because to me, he had, and I remember I was so into that shit, dude, I literally was dreaming about fighting that guy. And in my dream, it was so weird. He was doing that same shit and he was getting me sometimes and sometimes he wasn't. And I would talk to James about it and we would go back to training and I would be like, dude, I dreamed that he did this to me. And James was like, let's work on it. And we would work on it. And we did that for 2 months. And I was so zoned in because I wanted to break top 50 in the world so bad. I was so zoned in. I was literally going off of fucking dreams. Like that movie we watched. All based off the shit we were doing, planning for the future, based off of what we've seen in the past. And when it got there, like, he literally did all the fucking stuff. I didn't know when he was gonna do it. And some of it he changed up a little bit. Like a spinning back kick, he did it on the opposite side and shit. But it didn't even matter. I had already seen everything. I had already predicted everything. So when you say like a grandmaster don't look ahead, I'm a chess player. You do. Exactly. You literally do. You literally do. And I will tell you as an analytical fighter, because that's how I do everything. You know how, like, dude, I've never had a black eye in a fight. Think about that. Over 100 fights. I've never been kneed in the face. I've never been kicked in. Look at these motherfuckers tonight. And I ain't the best fighter in the world, but you want to know one thing I do? I study the past well, and I plan for the future of that fight well. I do both, actually, every fight. Like literally, my whole career from amateur pro, I look at both, and I prepare in the present. So like you can't leave any of them out. The past, it's a perfect balance. You know what I mean? You have to go in the past. You have to go in the future, but the present does dominate. I agree with you there. It does, but you have to dip the waters in both. You know, you have to. Because if you don't plan for fucking anything, that's like, you ever see when COVID hit? Dude, they had multi-million-dollar companies in Frisco shut down. What do you think that was? A lack of planning. Because when COVID hit, I will tell you, me and no other American or anybody in this world ever thought some shit would go down to shut down the world. It has never happened. One of the biggest viruses was what? Fucking bubonic plague, right? Yeah, bubonic plague, Black Death. Yeah. That wiped out a ton of people. Even that was a certain, recent, right? It would be no, I'm just talking about overall, and that was a big geography, but it didn't go around like this. Right. It didn't go around like this. This shut down the world. These businesses that was just like, oh, cool, we're making tons of money, but we got this high overhead, but we're good. They didn't have any savings or backup plans.
That was from neglect.
You know.
But
where'd the neglect come from?
Lack of instinct, lack of knowledge,
lack of planning,
knowledge.
You can't have knowledge on something that never happened. You would have to look ahead. And you mentioned Darwinism. One of my favorite people, Charles Darwin. What was he? Survival of the fittest, right? And what else? Evolution. What is evolution, though? How did he write about evolution?
It's derived from.
But he's looking ahead too.
In the past. But he's also
Yeah, he's looking in the
he's-
past and the future though.
But he's-
He can see what animals have went extinct and this and why. Then he's talking about it now and writing stuff now. But he also wrote about animals and shit going forward and what he thought they needed and which ones would last and everything.
But
Look at all of his studies.
But in his book, what is the big book he wrote? Origin of Species. If you've read that book, I don't know if you have, but it's all in the present moment. He does go in the past for a couple sections, and he goes in the future. But that's not what inspires emotion and understanding in people, because people would read the Bible. What he did in that book was he looked at the present. He had a chapter on instinct. He had a chapter on this and that, and everything. He looked at present species. He didn't go back in time and dig a fossil and explain how the fossil worked. He looked at the present to prove evolution. That's what he did.
Yeah, but he also wrote predictions of future.
He wrote predictions, but those aren't. But
So,
but
let me
But
ask
they
you
were
this.
based off
What
what he
is a-
studied in the
what is
present.
a
in the present.
Yes.
They were based
What
off.
is a prediction?
It's based off of your
It's
knowledge.
looking into the future, right?
Based
So,
off
for
the
example,
present.
like
Yeah.
I said, let's bring it back to the chess game.
It's
right?
both. It's both.
I see him and a
It's
fight,
both.
a chess game and a fight, right?
Uh-huh.
You look into the future, right? For example, in chess, your opponent makes a move, right? You think ahead. You think 3 moves ahead. What can he do with that one move? He can make.
Yeah, but he made the
500
move in the
different moves.
present.
Exactly.
He makes so look at
Instinct.
this. No, look at this. It's actually not. It's not instinct at all in chess. I'm speaking in chess. And when I fought that guy, it's kind of looking in the future, but it is my instincts too, because I don't know if he's going to do it or not. But look at chess. So let's say somebody plays chess over and over and over and over and over and over. That's a present thing. But that present thing is what leads them to that insight and that foresight to predict ahead. So now let's say to this grandmaster. Now I make a move in the present. Because of all his experience in it, he can watch the move I made in the present, look at the board and predict my future moves. That's literally what they do. I do it, but to a way lower level than they can do it.
Well, I think about
That's
chess.
because you also have to rely on instinct, right? Because
I have to rely on instinct more in chess in particular. But you want to know why? I haven't clocked in the present hours like those grandmasters have. You understand? I have to go off of like some future stuff, but instinct too. But I'm not. They still go off instinct, but they have to go off it way less because they so far ahead of the game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like so far ahead of the game. Look at Floyd Mayweather. You think he got those high defensive stats all off of instinct?
No.
Maybe if you watch his old fights, he got hit more. But guess what? He didn't have those present hours clocked in. He didn't clock in so many hours into boxing and perfecting that style now. Floyd literally, watch the way he slips the people's right hand to pull and go. They be like this, like they barely start throwing a right hand, he's already going back. He already know. He's seen every combination you can possibly see. So like soon as they start doing it, he's ahead of the game. So it's like instinct is never going. That's human nature to have instinct. But you can have foresight. And insight comes from what? Repetition, study.
Exactly. Repetition builds instinct. Foresight, I agree. In chess, I played chess. I know how chess works. I studied the game. I know it pretty well. There's definitely moves you can know ahead. For example, if it's the horse is a knight, right? The knight approaches a position where it can take out the bishop and the king at the same time. Those kind of moves, you don't think about them. They're instinct. Yes, you technically think ahead. The game kind of trivially relies on thinking ahead of your opponent. It technically does, but
I'd
my
like to
point.
counter you because
Hold on,
unfortunately you don't know.
Hold on, let me finish right quick.
My point of bringing up the present isn't technically in the game or in a matchup. In a matchup, I believe a person who foreshadows can foreshadow, but a person who truly foreshadows also should have fear. And a person who doesn't fear doesn't really foreshadow. Because there's really, in a match in chess, there's an infinite amount of moves. How can you possibly go over an infinite amount of moves to the end game? This is not possible. A person instinctually his brain brings up 2 or 3 moves he can think ahead. But in reality, there's an infinite amount of moves in chess that you can win the game. Same thing in life, same thing in a fight. There's an infinite amount of moves in a fight, especially there's many angles, this and that, many different.
But the instinct only comes in on the probability that you are wrong. Like, I literally did it in a fight. I looked ahead and the guy did everything I planned ahead for. But I still have to have my instincts, like when he did the spinning back kick the opposite way. My instincts have to kick in then. Because there is an infinite number of moves. But guess what? The chess player that's put in all those, clocked in all those hours in the present, that got himself to that point, what he's doing is he don't have to analyze an infinite number of moves. He did it enough to look at the overall board, see the pieces, and look in the future and predict what, maybe based off his instincts or whatever, the highest probability of the moves I might make. He can never be for sure. So that's instinct, but it's also foresight. Nobody can predict every move, but he can go, that's how Alon can go, that's how Dom board set up and Dom just moved here. Based off of the many times I've seen this shit, these are his highest probability moves. And now he got to go off his instinct, because guess what? Maybe he sees 3 things I might do. Now this instinct got to pick the one he fucking think I'm going to do based off of how I'm playing. You ever hear how nothing is singular in the world? You know? So nothing is. And look at social cycle theory. You ever heard of that?
No.
Social cycle theory is a sociological study of how everything repeats itself. They say that every set amount of time there's a war. Every set amount of time there's a big disease that affects people. Every set amount of time there's a recession and stuff. It's a big study, sociologists study for a very long time, and thus far it's proven true. So when you really look at even that theorem, it's looking at the past, the present, and the future simultaneously.
Exactly, and these are great points.
And hold on, he was going to say it. We just cut him out.
So I was just going to say that this is just going back to the chess analogy. So I don't even know if we need to beat the dead horse, but there's also traps and force moves in the game of chess, right? So you can plan ahead, and like I said, you cannot plan for every eventuality. You can't. What you can do is you can plan for the best possible move in the moment.
Oh my
right?
God,
so
let me cut you off for a second. You just said something before I forget. You said trap. What's a feint used for?
Setting up a combo.
It's a setup for what? But it's a setup for what?
Misleading your opponent.
But what is it set up for?
A kick.
It ain't even set up for the present moment. It's set up
for the future.
For the future moment. That's literally what it's for. It's not set up. Feints never work in the present moment. They always work a few seconds ahead. Always.
But a trap is a perfect example why things are in the present. If you're thinking in the future, it's a trap, and it's not relying on fighting. And I do want to mention real quick, I'm not supposed to talk, when I talk about the living in the present, I'm not supposed to talk about fighting. I'm more of talking about life in general. However, let's go back to the fighting.
I got cut off again.
Okay, go. I ain't go.
What the fuck?
All right, no, I cut you off that time.
I'm just saying.
I cut you off that time.
I understand that. You cut me off and he continued it. But like I was saying about the traps, right? Currently, in the present, you're not in a trap, right? But what you have to do is you have to plan for a trap. You have to plan for a trap, or you can plan to put life into a trap, right? If you put life into a trap, in this sense, you're making life work for you, right? You can either make life work for you or against you. The only thing you can do in the present is make the best moves presentable to you at the moment.
Time.
At the moment, right? That's exactly how the game of chess is played.
Yes.
And in the moment,
that's how the game of life is fucking played.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to compare chess to life. Because I'm not saying chess is life. I'm saying it's very fucking similar. The mindset you have to have for chess is very similar to the mindset that you have to have in life. That's why I wanted to bring up traps and forced moves.
What do I always tell you guys find this? I say it's human chess.
Absolutely.
I always say that.
Absolutely. Now, for example, let's bring up forced moves, right? For example, if I if I break a leg, I am forced to go to the hospital, right? Mm-hmm. I have to get treatment. Otherwise, I can never walk again. Possibly, right? I might heal perfectly. I don't know. There's a high probability that I'm fucked up for life, right? Or, for example, if I get fucking, something that I can't control, right? I'm born with diabetes, right? For example, I'm born with diabetes, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have to get insulin. It's a forced move. If I don't get insulin, I die, right? It's not a trap. At that point, it's a forced move. You're forced to do it because if you don't, you can't survive, right? But not everything in life is a forced move, and not everything in life is a trap. But you have to plan ahead for. You can't plan for everything, but you have to plan for the worst case scenario that can happen, that you know can happen, that you've seen in life in the future that can happen. For example, I've seen my dad, like I brought up earlier, with the freaking the airport, right? The airport got shut up. The worst case scenario is that can happen to me when my friends and family are around me and I don't have a gun or any kind of self-defense measures to defend myself, right? I know it's happened before. It's happened to my family before, but in this scenario, I chose not to do anything about it. And I became vulnerable, and now when something like a trap comes through, when an active shooter comes through, and one of my friends or family dies, I blame myself instead of preventing it, right? By planning ahead, by getting a concealed carry license, for example, and a handgun that I carry on my waist in case I need to defend my family, which is planning ahead.
Yeah.
Not in the present. That's planning ahead. Right?
Yeah.
That's doing something in the present, getting your concealed carry, getting your pistol, getting your ammunition. That's all in the present. Getting that shooting practice, that's all in the present. But the future, you're doing all that shit for the future.
No, me and you were on the same page, but
no, I understand. I just want to get that.
I just found a perfect analogy in my head.
I just got the perfect one too. That's gonna shut you down.
I got one to shut y'all both down.
Okay, go first, then I'm gonna shut you down.
Because mine's very simple. And the reason why, because I don't have the confidence to use fighting analogies. I don't have the confidence to chess analogies.
I'm gonna get you with a life.
But what I got a life one. I got a life one.
Back.
I plan ahead. When I go to college, I'm not in the moment. You see, I am in the moment. I am. One may say I'm not in the moment. However, they are wrong. When I'm in college, I go to class. I don't think about the future. However, the future is planned. Technically, it is. Technically, I got a job planned out. Technically, I have all this stuff already planned out. I'm going in the future. However, I'm in the present. Have you ever read Plato's Theaetetus? So what Plato does is he separates knowledge and belief, two almost interchangeable things, but they're completely different.
They are.
Yeah, they're completely two different things, but people kind of sometimes use them interchangeably with knowledge. Like if someone says, "Oh, I know this is going to happen in the future," no, you believe it's going to happen in the future.
Correct.
It's a belief. So when I say live in the present, and I want to go back to my previous why I mentioned this, and I kind of mentioned it for the sake of talking about what is the source of happiness. And what happens to people when they live? Why do they get depressed? Because they're focused on the present and the future. Why do some fighters sometimes fail? Why do some chess players fail? No doubt they overthink. That's a very common thing I've heard myself get called on is overthinking, because I'm in the future. I'll overthink because I'm in the past. I just think of course, when I'm in college, I do look into the future. However, I let that become knowledge. Like Plato says, he defines knowledge. I'm not as good as Plato. I'm not a philosopher. I can't define it as well as he does. However, knowledge is something that you build through experience, through repetition, as mentioned in fighting, through this. Going back to the chess analogy, I wanted to say this is if chess did not rely on the present moment or instinct, which I know we both said it relies on instinct and the future. However, some food for thought, if it relied only on thinking a step ahead, wouldn't everybody be equally good at chess? Because everyone has the ability to think ahead. However, not everybody has the ability or has the experience to have the same amount of repetitions. And I know that is very contradictable. However, you have to think of it in a simple way. Everything in life is built the same exact way. People do not truly live. People do not truly benefit from the future. They benefit from their own instinct. The future only clouds their instincts. That's what. And the future and the instinct is easily interchangeable. And I was less confident on saying about fighting and chess since I'm talking to two people that are better than me at both in some way. But I am truly confident to say that the future and instinct are truly they splash each other out because the future is always uncertain. You cannot plan. You cannot truly choose the right path in the future. You cannot choose right. You cannot never choose the perfect path. The same way that's where this.
But that's for anything. You can't.
Exactly.
How can you do in the present moment? You can't do the perfect thing.
So
Exactly.
let me ask you a question.
Hold on. But I'm gonna tell you something first, and then I'm gonna shut it down right here because you talked about experience. You know what? I got more experience than both of y'all.
Life.
Fighting.
Life, and I'm gonna get you with a life one. So, always tell my family, every female in my family, get a gun, get a knife, come train, come do this. Somebody could rape you, blah, blah, blah. I'm talking about the future, right? So, 1,022 fucking years ago when I was a little bit younger, I was doing stuff for Captain Dave Barsante at Foster City PD for narcotics, first narcotics force, right? And I was seeing a bunch of shit in a police department of statistics on rape and everything like that. And like how so many people are raped and don't report it and all this.
Can you call me along so I can go to the bathroom and repent on the call? I'm gonna call you, answer the phone.
Wait, you're going doo-doo or what?
Piss.
All right, we'll go piss.
Well, he can just wait for you.
I know, just go.
So what I wanted to say was so he brought up that
Hold on,
idea.
I'm gonna stop it and then restart one. All right, so. Oh yeah, when you were going, the lawn said you were a commie.
Hey, let me explain myself before.
I've never.
For the camera, let me explain why I said that. All right,
Not a commie.
because it sounds fucked up. It does. It sounds fucked up, and
I'm actually a raw capitalist.
Hold on, I understand that. I understand that, but there's a reason I said what I said. I don't want you.
Look how it's doing.
Hey, he kind of set me up. He kind of set me up because he got no context. Y'all got no context. He got no context. He set me up. All right. So here's what I said. All right. I said the fact that you said that everyone's made the same. He said that everyone's made the same and everyone has the same capabilities. So if everyone had the same capabilities, first of all, the ideal world of communism is everybody's the same. Everybody has the same pay, same job, or even different job, but it doesn't matter. They're paid the same, they live the same, and the life is fucking, fucking paradise.
But you know, it's usually despotic. And
That's true. No. That's not the point I'm making. The point that I'm making. Wait, let me finish.
There's socialism.
Let me finish.
The
point that I'm making. The point that I'm making is you stated that a lot of people are created the same biologically. That is true. That we all have a brain, we all have a heart, we all have a fucking wiener or a vagina. We all have feet, we all have fucking hands. Most of us.
Well, we ain't all equal there because my dick bigger.
Motherfucker, we ain't talking about that. All right. But the point is. The point is, if we were all created the same, equal, there wouldn't be any disparity. We would live in a fucking perfect society, but that does not exist. That can exist because, for example, I think differently than him. You think differently than me. That's why we're even having this conversation. Like, him and I may share similar views, but we still have different life experiences, which make us think in a different way. No, not even a conflict of interest. We agree on things. We're agreeing in this conversation. However, he has more experience than I. I'm good, thank you, sir.
Mm-hmm.
I'm good. Thank you.
He has more experience than I do, so he has more. He has different views to bring to the table than I do. You disagree completely, which is fine. That's why we're having this conversation. That's why my point in this is we're not all created the same. Like I said earlier, biologically we all have the same organs because that's what we need to survive. But we're not all the same. We don't all think the same. We don't all act the same. We're not all the same height. We're not all the same age. You know, there's all these different factors that you have to. No, those are not rocks. Those are factors that you have to take into life.
Hold on. Let me get to my point that I was.
Your dad's calling me. I'm gonna answer the phone.
No, I'm just texting.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just text him.
Алло, Миша, привет.
Yeah,
Это я сейчас.
So fucking
Ира,
just said,
я сейчас, Алло сейчас вам напишет месседж. Мы сейчас We go to coach's house. Es gramos. Jsme skoro pěm domů. Я знаю. Сейчас он тебе напишет, он просто игнорировал. Ну, он сейчас вас напишет или позвонит даже. Пока. That was your mom.
Alright, cool. But the thing is, you don't have to fucking talk to my parents for me, because I fucking know my parents.
So why answer the phone call?
Because I fucking know my parents, I know how to fucking talk to them. I'm just saying.
See, I'm living in the moment.
You're living in the moment.
When your parents call me,
shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up.
Your parents call me.
Shut the fuck up.
The simple thing to do is
Let's
answer the
go.
phone
Like,
call.
I'm not gonna call your fucking parents and just fucking tell them you drank today. I'm not gonna fucking do that.
I didn't call your parents.
Neither am I gonna fucking answer
Let's
the phone.
get back to this moment. Let me get my point. This is what I was gonna say to you. So I was talking about the police shit, right?
Yeah.
This officer said something to me, and it's stuck with me forever, which is why I treat my family like that. Even my female friends, I tell. Even my guy friends, I tell you guys. He said every woman that was raped at one point sat there in the thinking it would never happen to me.
Yep.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's a present thought. And then when it happened in the future. If they would have done something in the present, looking into the future as if it could happen to them, they may have been able to prevent it. Because you are correct. You cannot predict the future. But let me tell you something like this. I got guns. So you see all these robberies in Frisco these dudes have? The success rate of that being me is much lower because I saw it in the present and I prepared for it for if it happens. Can I still get robbed? Yeah, I can't predict the future. Can they get their shit shot the fuck up and I not be robbed? Yeah, because I planned for if that might happen. And let me tell you something, and I'm gonna just shut this down, period. Because you right and you wrong. Present is what you're supposed to focus on. But you gotta look in your past to learn and you gotta plan for the future. You have to. Let me give you the biggest thing, and you're gonna experience it yourself one day. Nobody could dispute this on this fucking planet. Pregnancy. Do you think you could just live in the fucking future with a pregnant girl? You will, let me tell you, it's the quickest way to fucking failure. You will fail, young man. If your girl is let me tell you, if your girl get pregnant tomorrow and you don't plan on the future, you just be like, I'm living day to day, you gonna be in trouble. One of my best guys just stopped because he fucking, and here's the thing, it actually plays into both of ours. So one of my best guys stopped, right? Because he's doing what you should do, look in the future, but he's doing it exactly with what fucking way you saying. He's going too far into the future and he's not living in the present. He said, oh fuck, my girl's fucking pregnant. Oh, I'm gonna have a kid one day. I have to stop everything now because this kid's coming. And he fucked up. You see, he went too far ahead. Yeah, he went too far ahead. And he ain't doing anything in the present. But guess what? If you sit in the fucking present and be like, oh, my girl's pregnant. That's in the future, whatever. Whatever, when it comes, it comes. Let me tell you. You're going to be fucked. I don't care what kind of job you got. Nothing prepares you for a fucking kid. Nothing prepares you for a kid. It is nothing fucking like it, dude. You have to plan. And guess what? No matter what you plan wrong. That's the crazy fucking part about it. You plan wrong 100% of the time, but guess what? You get some of them right. And then it's better. You have to plan. It's just the way fucking life is. And that's why I'm giving an example, because my goal here ain't to be fucking right over either one of you guys. My goal is to give my insight, my knowledge and everything. A lot of people don't know, because you were talking about knowledge and Plato or whoever and stuff, and you kind of got it wrong. You know, when I was studying psychology, and it was very interesting, they said most people don't even know how to really define wisdom, knowledge, and intellect. And I was like, damn, most people fucking don't. They just be like, I'm smart or something like that, you know? And instead of being like, I'm knowledgeable. You know what I mean? And most people say, oh, I'm an intellectual and don't even really know what that is. But when you look at it, knowledge is what? Knowledge comes from studying. It's the knowledge is the amount of data that you take in from study. So the more you study and the more you memorize, the more knowledgeable of a person you are. Wisdom is solely from doing and experience, nothing else. And intellect, why do you think it's called intellectual capacity? It is the overall amount of knowledge and wisdom that you hold. That's what they are, the three differences. And most people don't even know what the fuck is going on and what the three fucking differences are or what they fucking really are. Because it's a bunch of people not knowledgeable at all and sitting there saying they fucking smart. No, get your goofy ass fucking out of here. You don't even know what the fuck is going on. But no, you got to do both though. You have to.
I just want to say, so you're exactly right. Nobody knows what knowledge is. In fact, Plato's Theaetetus, the entire book, what the book was, it was a conversation between Socrates and Theaetetus. They talk about knowledge and wisdom, but they never truly define it. They go through it. Theaetetus has a theory that knowledge is derived from the past and within. The person who was with was a mathematician, and he talked about how geometry. People know geometry. Education is relearning, not actually learning it. Relearning. So there's definitely a lot of theories about knowledge. So that's very true. I think knowledge is indefinable. It's one of those things like infinity. You can't define it. It's undefinable. We can perceive it any way we want, but I mean, I think a beautiful way of defining knowledge is through practicing and repetition. And when we say repetition, that's not really a word. Repetition.
Well, knowledge is infinite because
exactly.
we haven't learned everything, and in a sense, all knowledge built is really a dip into the past. Unless if you were the first, let's say he discovers an animal. He is the first person, he is presently gaining that knowledge for everybody. Other than that, all we're doing is dipping into the fucking past when we learn fucking anything. But all knowledge is just shit already learned. We just learn it in the present.
But the present becomes the future. That's what we're trying to get across. Right? You're not living right now. Like, for example,
wait, hold on.
When we started this conversation 30 minutes ago, right? Mm-hmm. 30 minutes ago, we are technically 30 minutes ago. Right now, if we didn't know about this conversation, where this conversation would be 30 minutes, however long ago we started, because from when we started, we're currently which was the present. We're now in the future of that conversation, right? We are.
Hold on, you fucking lose.
No. So I'm saying, Dom, listen. I'm saying we're going back in time to when the conversation first started, right? We did not know where the conversation was going. We did not know the future of the conversation.
Oh, you're right.
No. We did not know the future of the conversation. Right. We did not know we would be in this exact moment speaking these exact words. We had no idea. So in that past, we cannot know our future. But in that past, we started something, or in that past, which is in this scenario the present that I'm bringing us to, right? Because I took us back to the past, which is that current present.
You fucking losing.
Listen. I'm taking us to the back, the past. And I'm making that our present. I'm making you imagine we're in the beginning of the conversation. We have no idea what we just discussed, right? We have no idea what's going to happen, right? So we're currently talking about the past, and we're making the past the present, but the present isn't going to stop instantly, right? The present is going to lead to the future, right? So the present, the past that I brought you to, right? Like, I'm telling a fucking story. I brought you to the past. I'm making that the present. The present that I brought you to, which is in the past, is going to become a future. It's a path to the future. This path could have taken millions of directions. We could have said words in different ways that would have taken us down millions of paths.
Solutions. Yeah.
But there is exactly infinite solutions. But we got down to this one.
Okay.
Well,
right? We can't control that, but we decided to.
I was going to say this. So one beautiful thing that Coach said was, I'm right and wrong. And that's beautiful because I am right and wrong. What I said is my opinion. What I said is my view. However, there is one can perceive a cup as half full, and one can perceive a cup as half empty.
But they're simultaneously both.
The same way you can perceive we can perceive our conversations in two ways. Both are the right answer. They're both the right answer. However, in my conversation, when you can continue, one can take over, but I think I want to express that in my view, I kind of wanted to define happiness, and I think happiness is derived from the present moment and the future. All the complications, all the uncertainties, the infinite math solutions. Somewhere lies a fear. Somewhere lies a deception. Somewhere lies something that
trap, maybe.
Exactly, the future.
But what are you saying for happiness? But see, how can you define happiness? Because I like head. You know, like you might not like head from a girl as much. You might like to lay on your back and a girl ride you. That shit make you happy. Yeah. I like head, and I work too much. I don't want to work all the time in bed.
But what head does?
So the thing is, no head make me happy.
No, it doesn't.
No, it fucking do. I don't know what kind. Maybe you ain't experienced the kind of head I got. No, young man. Maybe you have not.
It numbs you.
No, it does anything but numb me. I don't know what kind of head you fucking be getting.
No.
It don't numb me.
Not physically, like your blood pressure is cut numb. No, it mentally numbs you.
Oh,
it hides who you are from yourself. Head desires rocks, as I said earlier. I'm just
head no high wham. I'm a freak, dog. It be coming out, dog.
Getting.
Yo, you got it wrong. Head be unleashing my demons, dog. You got it out backwards. Maybe unleashing my alter ego, dog.
You think of Bugatti. You would be happy, right? You think of Bugatti. Bugatti.
No, but here's my point, though.
What make you happy?
Here's my point, because when I hear you sound like you're saying like, happiness is like it got to be defined this way and stuff like that. Here's how it is. Happiness is always going to be found it's always going to be found in the present. I agree. You can't find happiness in the past, and you can't find happiness in the future, because the past has already happened and the future has not happened yet. You do have to find happiness in the moment, but everybody finds it somewhere else. No, wherever, what makes him happy is going to be somewhere in the noun. What makes you happy is going to be somewhere in the noun. What makes me happy is going to be somewhere in the noun. But it ain't going to be the same for any of us. You know what I mean? And it's weird because I know what would make me the happiest. I've always known since I was a kid. When I was a little kid, I told my mom and grandma, I said, one day I want to get enough money to open businesses in countries where people have no opportunity and give it to them. Like when I was a kid. And then when I was like a teen, I was saying the same thing. In my 20s, the same, 30s, and still at 40, that's my thing. So I know that's what will make me the happiest. That's somewhere in the future, hopefully. God willing, I can make that happy. But to be happy now, I have to focus on the moment. So I agree with you. Because guess what happens if I say that's the only thing that will make me happy? And that's in the future. I will be miserable now. I will be miserable. But see, that's why everything is all at once. Why do you think the word retrospect is there? And how you have to look at things in retrospect to gain things. And that's why I was bringing up insight and everything and foresight, because you have to be like this. It's like you have to be here most of the time, but you have to go put it like this, the ocean, right? There's particular type of species that live only at the surface of the water. And there's certain kind that live only in the middle. And there's certain kind like the anglerfish that live only at the bottom. The bottom is the darkest, right? That's the past. You don't want to be down there too long. You don't know what the fuck's going on. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like you know it. And then after that you have, maybe that would be the future actually, the bottom, because you don't know what the fuck going on. And then the past might be the middle, and the present might be the surface where everything looks more clear because it's going on. But guess what? All of it is the ocean, right?
Right.
So it's all of them. And I think that if you fail to see that it's everything, that's what could fuck you up.
Yeah, you know, and I agree. Everything is undefinable. Exactly. You wanted.
Yeah, so I just wanted to point out that when we had this conversation yesterday, which is pretty much where we're at now, it's the same conversation we had yesterday. It's just fucking deja vu for me. But I made the same point as you. You said you wanted to spread gyms, build gyms across the world to give opportunities to people who don't have it, right? Mm-hmm. I said something similar. I didn't say it in those exact words. I said I wanted to build gyms around the world so I can spread my love, which currently is health, fitness, and knowledge of health and fitness, correct? But to do that, I need money, right? Mm-hmm. But if I obsess about money, that's unhealthy, right? But if I obsess about what I love and do, that's something different. If I obsess about spreading what like health across the world, and I see that success, and I can enjoy that, that's something that I can work on and enjoy. That's something to look forward to.
Yeah, we circle back around when we were talking about like what creates these OnlyFans girls and all that shit. It's people, they don't have any goals, and they don't have any goals. They just want the money. They want the money. They want the clout. They want a lot of them. It's sad because there's holes in their persona. It's holes in their soul. It's holes in their spirit and their character. So they fill this hole with money, with superficiality, with monetary things, and then with a bunch of guys. Think about it. No woman. One of the things I hate the most, people be telling me like, Don, you hate women. I'm like, I was raised by fucking women. I fucking love fucking women. But you want to know what? When you're raised by women and you love women, you understand a fine thing. And that's that having a fucking vagina does not make you a fucking woman. It is more to it than that. You know what I mean? I hate bops. I hate tots. I hate whores. I hate hoes. You know what I mean? Whatever fucking neighborhood you're in, whatever they call it, it's a million fucking names. You could go way back in the past, call them charlatans, whatever you want. I hate them all. I hate them fucking all. But I love women. And you want to know what? Ain't no woman gonna be fucking selling her fucking body for fucking money, or fucking online for money, or playing with these dildos and shit for money. And it's crazy because when you look at these females, they will have boyfriends. Not till they boyfriends they have OnlyFans. Then the guy catches them, and females have a very unique, in case you guys don't know, this has been going on since I was a kid. They have a very unique ability of fucking up, not saying, hey, my bad, I fucked up, and somehow blaming you for their fuck ups and playing victim. I don't know what it is with the female sex. They all have that unique ability. But they do these things, don't even tell their men, and then fucking sit there and be like, oh, well, OnlyFans isn't cheating, blah, 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 blah. and all this fucking crazy shit. And it's all to fill a void. And that void might be similar with some of them, the same with some, different. Because, a lot of people's journeys have similarities in them. You know what I mean? A lot of people are lonely the same way. That's why a lot of the guys that pay for that shit are lonely guys, not even horny guys. There's more lonely guys paying for it than not. But the thing is, it's like, that's what happens when you don't have a bigger goal. Like he talks about like love and happiness and all this. When you don't, that's why they say it's very dangerous not to have a goal or an objective or a hobby or a habit. Because if you don't have these things, what are you doing? All that's left at that point is the money. And if all that there is the money, you will do anything for the fucking money. And then you will continue to do everything because guess what? That hole, you're like throwing money into it. It's like if he had a big ass hole in his chest and I'm throwing the money in, and in my mind, it's going to eventually pile up and close the hole. But really that hole is an abyss and it just keeps getting thrown in and never filled. You know what I mean? But what were you going to say?
Okay, so the hole is a beautiful thing. The hole, it's there. One needs to question, why is the hole there? And one may think, so this is why I don't think in the future. Because the future has a bunch of solutions to the hole, but the hole is there for a reason. It's not from the past, it's from the present moment, because you're not filling the hole with love and everything you need.
No, that's wrong though. Because I tell you like that. One of my best friends was molested by her uncle for years. And guess what? And a hole formed. That's something in the past formed that hole. Mm-hmm. But guess what? she has to do something presently to close it.
Exactly. She has
But so holes can be, a lot of people's holes are formed in the past.
People get scratches. People get wounds. People get injuries.
Mm-hmm.
Wounds are health. Wounds are good, but people need to treat those wounds. So
Correct.
so let's go back to the one thing I know is everyone's giving great things, resources for me to use as examples. So OnlyFans girls, what they're doing, they're filling a hole. Getting a blowjob, what that's doing is filling a hole. And sometimes getting a blowjob.
Not getting. They're
I'm
giving.
about to fill a hole after I get a blowjob. But it ain't filling no hole. You know what I'm saying?
Let's not get literal. But it can. So getting a blowjob from let's say from a whore, from a wife, you're probably happy if you have a wife and you're in love, or a girlfriend or a boyfriend or whatever it may be. You're in love. You're happy. So that's okay. But when one decides thinks in the future and says, I need a blowjob, they're filling a hole. When someone desires something in the future, they probably want to fill a hole. And the business, if you're thinking in the future of having a business, you're probably trying to fill a hole if you're thinking in the future. That's where I mentioned of course.
Maybe
I
maybe
agree
we're
with that. I was agreeing with you up until that part.
Or maybe we're good people that want to help.
Yeah,
other
yeah.
people,
I'm not
other
filling any
people
holes.
help other people fill their holes, right? For example,
Right, so listen. You let me finish.
Okay, go.
So what one does when they think in the future is they're filling a hole. But the thing is, there's this beautiful thing called the present. What one can do in the present is doing helping people by living the present, by focusing one's energy into the present rather than the future, because it takes energy to have these thoughts and to have these feelings and to have these emotions. The past brings guilt. The past brings joy.
What's the point of helping someone in the present if there is no future?
Yourself is the first person.
No. But if there is no, what's the point of helping someone in the present, even yourself, if there is no future that you're helping them towards, right? If, like you're saying, first person you should help, you literally just said it. The first person you should help is yourself. Why? If you're not planning, why? Because you're planning for the future. You're planning for your future so you can plan for someone else's future. That's the point me and Don are trying to get across. Okay. And you just helped us do it.
So remember, let's go back to what I was talking about the college example. Because I can easily use a college example because I hate real fighting. So college, I'm in the moment, focusing on the moment. I'm having joy in the moment.
Oh yeah, I was going to shut that down though. That's absolutely, that part I didn't agree with at all. When I was in college, I was about to say something I was going to say I didn't know nobody. But there were two kind of people. There were the people doing what you are saying. They went to college and had no fucking clue what they wanted to do. There were some, and they're just there. They live in day to day. They had no clue what they wanted to do. Some of them dropped out. Some figured it out. Nothing's in totality. So you ain't never gonna have 100% fucking on either side. And then guess what the majority of people did? They went there already knowing what the fuck they wanted to major in. College is not cheap. You in college. Mm-hmm. It's not cheap. Mm-hmm. And depending on which one you go to, some of them are in six figures. Mm-hmm. You better fucking go looking ahead. When you in high school, why do you think, put it like this, got one for you. What do every high school have? College what? Prep.
Oh yeah.
That is a future-based class. That is future-based conversation.
They have AVID
because
advancement.
Because fucking it is preparing you for college. Because when you go to college, you better have a fucking head start, and you better go in there and be like, "This is my major. Let me get to it." Because I know some people who were in there like 6 fucking years because the first 2 days was trying to figure out what they wanted to do because they didn't go in there looking in the future. Now they got 6 years worth of that. You know what I mean? Instead of fucking 4. And they weren't planning on getting the masters or fucking nothing. That it took 6 years to get a BA. Because the first 2 were wasted. We could go around this over and over and over and over and over and over. The past is used to study your mistakes. There's a quote, one of my favorite quotes. So they have the very cliche saying that says, people learn from their mistakes. I've always hated it. My favorite quote is from a Chinese philosopher, and he said, the fool learns from his mistakes and the wise man learns from the mistakes of others. Because guess what? I don't even have to look at my past to learn. I can be in a similar field of, like, let's say he's a fighter that I train with all the time. And I can go watch one of his fights and see him do some fucking shit and go, I ain't never doing that. Because look what the fuck happened to him. And it'd be like, I've seen 5 other dudes do that and the same thing happened to them. I ain't gonna do it. So I looked into the past with 5 fucking fighters, they old fights, saw them all do one move. Kind of like, remember I told you guys, don't kick up close with your left kick. You know how I learned that? I saw hella people fucking do it and get knocked out the same way. And then I got curious enough to do something in the present and go do a little bit of research and ask my coach questions. And he was like, yeah, that's the kick that the most people get knocked out with. Don't ever dry kick or step in with the left low kick. And I was like, ooh. No, so the past is used to learn. The present is used to do, to cultivate. Here and now, you have to. You can't build in the past or the future, but you have to look in the future because guess what? It's another cliche saying, and this shit happens, you know? So the only thing is when it comes to the left or the right, which is the past or the present, you can only peek. You never want to sit there dancing or trying. You know the problem is, and I think you kind of get at it and maybe not verbalizing it right.
I am.
People, you know what they do? They go like this, and they see the past, and they walk there, and they get their little hammer and shit and start building there. Or they walk to the future, and they don't, or what they think is the future, and they start building there. How the fuck you gonna build for something that ain't fucking happen? You know, you gotta fucking start doing shit.
They can
now.
They can. No. They can build in the future. That's what I don't like. You can build them. You can't. And this is not going to be in chess or what. But I can go get a nuclear engineering degree right now. I can switch my degrees and get a nuclear engineering degree. I can set up a job. I can do this. I can be put in the seat of a nuclear engineer or whatever it may be. Or I can be put into a seat of a service worker at a gas station. I can be put into the seat. But what's the point if I didn't venture into that? Imagine being placed somewhere where you didn't live into.
You're planning to be placed in the field that you want in the present by planning for the future because you're in the present. You're doing something in the present. You're getting a college degree in the present for something you want to do in the future.
And I don't know if you realize right now, what you're saying basically agrees with the point me and him have been saying the entire time.
And I hate that going to college.
That's what I had to do with yesterday. I'm just saying. I'm just fucking saying. I'm gonna fucking excuse myself because it's repetitive as fuck. Fuck!
That's the reaction of one that can't get their point across. That's the reaction of a loser is anger. A winner or a learner. So I want to bring that point up. In fighting, I've heard two sayings. You win or lose, or you win or learn, and that's the same thing as a half of a glass full or a glass empty. I think in fighting the same thing applies as in real life. Life is a fight. Life is a fucking fight. I mean, think about it. Every move you make, every single move you make has a consequence and a benefit. Every move you make in life has a consequence or a benefit. And we don't plan ahead every move we make. We don't. We rely on instinct. See, that's a reaction of this. Why are you reacting like that?
It's not a reaction of a loser. It's a reaction of a guy who's gotten his point across, been proving it by yourself.
You didn't prove it.
Okay, my God, I'm done. I'm not trying to argue with you.
Because you know why?
Because this conversation is going to go on endlessly in the fucking circles.
Exactly.
We came to a conclusion yesterday about this, which is why I didn't really want to begin this discussion.
Alon,
But we
All right,
wanted, we
let's-
wanted.
we're going to.
point.
I'm gonna end the podcast,
We
guys.
are going.
RW podcast, Rise and Wisdom.
Alon, what you
Let
said
us
is
know your
factual.
We're
thoughts
stopping this
in the
right now.
comments below, guys. When I post this up, I'm out.